Hey everybody, welcome back to another 10-minute Marvel video. It has been too long, but today Marvel gave us something big to cover. And that is the Spider-Man Brand New Day, oh yes it is, trailer. And this trailer, we've been waiting for it for a while, and honestly, it was worth the wait. This trailer really felt like it was this kind of love letter to Spider-Man comics. Um, I don't have all the stills for it, but you can find them online for the ones that really create iconic comic book covers with Spider-Man in the hand, with Spider-Man rescuing the person under his arm, and more in there. So this is something where they crafted this trailer in a great way to really set up the fact that we're getting more of a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And I think that that's something that I've been looking forward to. I loved the first three Spider-Man films. Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home are all really fun films. I'm always glad to go back and watch them again. But as I look at them, they're these big Spider-Man films. It's not your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man set in New York City, web swinging around the buildings, and that's very much what we got here. Now, I'm not going to necessarily go through and break down every element of this, but I do think it kind of leans into a few different things that are probably worth noting. We have a lot of villains in this. So we see Boomerang, we see Tarantula, we see Scorpion, we see the Hand, and there's definitely going to be more. Tombstone is rumored for it. And I almost wonder if we actually do see Tombstone a little bit when the whole thing rises up. I could see that being Tombstone, them kind of having him imprisoned in a way that way. Now, that could have been Michael Mando, Scorpion as well. I don't think it was Sadie Sink. The boots and just the physique don't look right. So I really do think it could very easily be Tombstone. And I was watching a Real Rejects, kind of their reaction to this, and they mentioned how maybe, and there might have been some confirmation from the Daredevil showrunners that there is going to be some direct tie into this between Daredevil Born Again Season 2, the Punisher special presentation, and the in Spider-Man Brand New Day. And I'm kind of piecing together, I think, how that potentially could work. I think in Daredevil Born Again, we're going to see very much Fisk versus Daredevil. And we're going to have the rogue mercenary cops. We're going to have some of the other gangs. But it's really going to be Fisk versus Daredevil. And when Fisk is defeated, I do think he's going to be defeated. He's going to have to disappear, going to be arrested, something like that. That's going to create this big power vacuum. The power vacuum is going to be held in check a little bit by the rogue police. So the mercenary group that Fisk creates, they're going to be dealt with in the Punisher special presentation. And this is going to create a massive power vacuum. There are going to be multiple gangs that are coming in to try and take over this turf. I love that they gave us the Hand, and a very cool looking Hand in here. And I honestly, I think we're going to see the Hand at the very end of Daredevil Born Again Season 2. But with the Hand, that's a big group making a play. Tombstone has his gang. We haven't. The Scorpion has his gang. And we have these other players as well. We're going to see this vacuum created and this chance for villains to kind of rise up within within New York City. Now there is a collection of comics called Gang War. It's an event within Marvel Comics. It's not necessarily one that's it's like, yeah, go out, read Gang War, because that's going to be super important to this. But I do think it probably is going to take some elements of that. I think with that, we're also getting kind of this metamorphosis of Spider-Man. We're seeing him go from being just kind of the science-based character to maybe having some organic webbing. It definitely is implied in the trailer. Now, Coijandro on Real Rejects was like, he's not a big fan of that. And the idea being like, okay, we see Spider-Man reach up, and we assume that it's a web shot out that catches onto something. But he is falling past balconies. I don't think he grabs onto a balcony, but I think it could be a situation where somebody grabs onto him. And they're definitely trying to make it look like that's part of this metamorphosis that he's going through. That could be an interesting twist. It certainly could be Sadie Sink's character if it is Jean Grey. And as we're looking at this gang war, I think that we have to look at who's kind of controlling and operating everything from the shadows. Now, the rumor has been Mr. Negative. I think that there's a strong chance we get a Mr. Negative. Mr. Negative has the ability to kind of change people and control people. And I think one of the plots that we're going to have in here is we're going to have the introduction of Sadie Sink as Jean Grey. If Sadie Sink is introduced as Jean Grey, now that's just still up in the air. It's still a rumor. But if she is introduced as that, I think that her powers get revealed somehow. And it's the idea that she has to go on the run from the Department of Damage Control. And Spider-Man knows that she's not the one behind all this controlling people because he's been dealing with it for a while. And so his big goal is to track down who's at the top, who's the person actually pulling the strings. Because Sadie Sink's Jean Grey is getting blamed for all of this. And so I think that's going to be one probably later part story. We get introduced to Jean Grey early on, but probably not until after we've had some of these gang fights. And Frank's there to kind of be this foil of, well, why not choose violence? Can you, in a situation where it is a gang war, be able to stand up and say, no, I'm your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I capture people. I make sure that they are brought to justice. I don't kill. Or, I mean, in the scene with the military vehicle, the tank type thing, being controlled by that old lady, I think that that's a situation where Spider-Man knows that, okay, somebody's controlling people. And Frank's like, well, I don't care. I'm going to use the swiftest, I'm going to use my way to deal with these situations. And this is an out of control tank. We have to disable it, destroy it. Somebody gets hurt in the process, so be it. And I think that that's going to be kind of the headbutting between those two. And I really like the dialogue that we get from them. I like the fact that they let uh, Punisher swear, well, almost swear, but have Spider-Man deal with it. It deals with it in an in-world way that makes sense. Like Spider-Man is kind of that kid and that very wholesome character, not in the way of Captain America's language, but like that jokey, like, ooh, that's a bad word, we shouldn't say it, sort of thing, and would stop somebody else from saying it. And I think that worked really well for me in this trailer. I am, after having watched the trailer now 3 times, including one of the times I watched it at 0.35 speed, just so I could look at every detail and everything. This is a wonderful trailer. This is something that is very much, we love the comics. I mentioned it at the beginning, and that has me so excited for the film. This again was Real Rejects. They mentioned that I guess I watched it 4 times because I watched the reaction to it. But they mentioned how Destin Daniel Cretton was like, yeah, kid's first word was Spider-Man. That's how much he loves Spider-Man and how much he talks about Spider-Man, how much it is part of his life. And to me, that that's a great thing because you look at the projects that Dustin Daniel Cretton has done. Shang-Chi has brilliant fight scenes. I love them. And has some of the most interesting, like, cool settings for fight scenes, but just interesting world. And that great blend of some humor and everything in it. And then you have Wonder Man. You have those introspective moments. You don't have a ton of fighting in that one, but you have, again, those blend of serious moments, silly moments, and it works so well. And that's what Spider-Man is. Spider-Man is a character who's constantly worried about others. And you can see the hurt just from the initial scene that he can't be going to MIT with them. But then is also the has that banter with John Barenthal's Punisher that just has me so incredibly excited for this film. Let me know your thoughts on the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer down in the comments below. And we'll be talking about that coming up this week on the 10-Minute Marvel Podcast. You can find the podcast here on YouTube. Click onto the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. We appreciate everybody who has and who is checking out these videos when they come out. And then click on the podcast tab. But with that, we will see you next time.